Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Welcome to Absolute Comics, the weekly show right here at the Comic Story Podcast Network that who is calling me right now in the middle? I just said, why would you call? Literally, I'm not even joking. A friend goes, what are you doing? I said, live on a podcast. Why would you call me? Why? Hold on. Why would you call me? I'm live. I said that. The audience heard
knows
that.
This is happening.
I'm telling them as I type what I'm saying to you. You have become a essence of the show.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Random person who called Benny.
Anyway, welcome to Absolute Comics, the show right here at the Comic Story Podcast Network that airs every Tuesday at about, what time is it now? Like 5 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah.
I sit down with my good dear friend and heterosexual life partner, Sal from Comic Pop, and we talk about comic books from the news and the movies to the video games to the comic books themselves, and we just kind of go over all the interesting stuff for the week.
That's right.
So, we got quite a few topics to run through today, as long as my friend doesn't try to call me back again. We're going to be talking about some of the comic books that came out, including the new Future State Red Hood, Urban Legend Red Hood. We're going to talk about Grifter. We're going to talk about the
Everyone with red hoods, apparently, because Grifter also has a red hood.
It's a theme. Where's your Grifter mask?
It's slightly off screen. I moved him around. I have all these different masks.
Of all the episodes, we're officially going to talk about Grifter and Wildstorm, and you're like, off screen.
Yeah.
Ant-Man.
He'll be in the rebroadcast.
But yes, we're going to talk about the new MODOK show. We're going to talk about the revelations of the Hellfire Gala. Venom movie discussions that now my mom is calling me. What is even happening?
I don't know. By the way, we will spoil the Hellfire Gala because Marvel did it.
Yep.
So if you don't want to know what happens at the end of the Hellfire Gala, which you shouldn't because it's an event that hasn't even started yet, we'll warn you ahead of time.
Yes, and we're also going to talk about John's new power, apparently, and Heroes Reborn. I didn't read the bottom two topics, so it's all right.
We'll get to it. Those are the bottom topics. We'll talk about those at the bottom of the show.
Let's kick it off. Let's talk about Urban Legends number 3.
Okay.
First, I want to state, at first, I thought I was kind of complaining by what Chip Zdarsky was doing, because it felt like every Batman Red Hood storyline.
Right.
Red Hood shows up into town, makes some enemies, Batman gets mad at him, oops, accidentally kills somebody. We have the same argument we always have.
Right.
But by issue 3, there's more story developing to this. Give me one second to my mother. I will call her back in an hour.
Okay.
I am live. I will call you in 1 hour. Promise. I will forget. So basically what happened is he did accidentally kill a man.
Yeah.
Because he was mad. I don't know if you can call it accidental. Yeah.
No, he murdered a man.
Made the kid a orphan.
De facto orphan. Remember, his mother's in a coma due to a drug overdose.
Okay. And then him and Batman fought, which is, for me, was like, oh, here we go again. Cool. Uh-huh. Chip, I really love all your work, but you're just doing the Batman Red Hood trope.
Right.
This issue corrected that, though.
Yes. It made you think, oh.
Yeah. So basically, Batman acknowledges the failures with Jason. Jason's willing to work with Batman to try and correct the situation. Yep. And one of the lines is the best. When he brings, I think that was Leslie.
It was Leslie.
Leslie Thompson, and she's like, "Oh, are you making a new Robin?" And his response was, "No, I'm trying to help a Robin." And he's trying to teach Red Hood how to move beyond all these issues. I actually really like the idea that Chip established the status quo of Batman Red Hood. It is now establishing we're going past that. We're gonna what would actually happen next?
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, we still keep kind of like having that tension of like, will they stop? Because it's a team up book, more or less. It's Batman and Red Hood. It's their story together.
Yeah.
But also, they break up, they get back together. I mean, that's just the cycle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'd break up. Well, we disagree on how to handle this, Batman. Your plan's not working. And Batman's
Stay
like,
in your
I've done
cave.
this for
I'll
like
get
20
some
years.
results. Yeah.
I'm actually digging it. I think it's a pretty cool idea to go in that direction with Red Hood and Batman, to actually move beyond the standard. I remember when I covered the last issue on the channel, everyone's like, why is Batman punching Red Hood again? Like, why are we back to this again? But this is going to answer that. This is moving past that. Yeah. The back of the book, and I know you're a fan of Grifter and Wildstorm.
I am aware of them, yes. And
you're a huge fan.
I'm the man. I'm mass. No.
I know. I know
of
one person with Grifter memorabilia.
Listen, DC was throwing these at people, and I just happened to catch one. And I bought a foam head display so that I could,
But you displayed it.
I did display. I mean, because who else has a Grifter mask?
Hence my point.
Yeah, listen, I read Wildcats. I read Gen 13. I read Team 7. I read Deathblow. I've read a lot of Wildstorm. So yes, I am aware. Although I don't get it. Because okay, so Jim Lee parlayed his entire stake in Wildstorm and all of his characters so that he could have an executive level position at DC Comics, and then never really did anything exciting or interesting with them, like ever. We kept seeing like reboots and relaunches, and no one ever bought them because I think those characters belong in 1996.
Well, the problem with that, on top of that, is every reboot and restart, they try to reboot and restart. They
Complete reboot.
Yep. Like right now in Urban Legends, they're just picking up like Grifter's been around. They're not trying to re-explain Grifter, give him a new origin, go through his whole. No, they're just like, Grifter's here. Let's just do a Grifter story.
Yeah, which has been the Grifter status quo since Future State. Every Grifter appearance. When Grifter was officially a security detail for Lucius Fox.
Yeah,
they're just like, Grifter's here. You're welcome.
Oh, right, and I like that because every time they've tried to do Wildstorm or Grifter, it's like, all right, we're going to spend like 10 issues setting it up. If you hold out, though, we'll get some good new stuff.
Yeah. There was only a few years ago, DC tried to do an entire universal reboot for Wildstorm in a book called The Wildstorm.
It made it 12 issues and got canceled again?
Well, that being said, I think they were planning 12 issues, and then they just no one ever bought more than 12, and they were like, all right, well, that's that. I gotta tell you, I used to, when we used to make videos for DC, because DC had another channel that they would make videos for, and they wouldn't pay us, they would just kind of put them out. They asked me to cover Wildstorm for them, and I got about 4 issues in, and I'm like, I have to stop reading this book. It is so boring.
That was the issue I had with it. Andy liked it, my brother.
It's great. It's just also terribly boring.
It's set up for a trade. It's not intended to be read individually. And there's a lot of stories more recently coming up that are set up like that. But
yeah, month to month, that book is impenetrable. I assume, and I need to really sit down because that's actually where I learned about John Davis Hunt's art, and he's awesome, and the book looks unbelievable. So if you're curious about Wildstorm, maybe don't start with the Wildstorm. But yeah, but Grifter. The reason why we're even talking about Grifter, if I may, is because Grifter has always been on a team. Whenever Grifter was introduced in the 90s, he was either on Team 7 or Wildcats. It's never been the Grifter show.
And he's always kind of been Red Hood.
Yeah.
Batman, but willing to kill. It's kind of always been his motif.
He's like cooler
with the
Gambit.
World's worst mask that would fly up.
Yeah, well, and it worked out great because he's so sexy under there. He always had a 5 o'clock shadow. He always had a cigarette. He looked awesome all the time, and the mask is also cool. But
it defies physics how it always stayed down. Is it weighted?
Right, it needs to be. This one, not so much. His, definitely. It has to be. But anyway. But yeah, ever since they've been pushing Grifter, they're like, Grifter, looked at him. And it's like, what about anyone else from Wildcats? I kind of would be excited to see a DC Universe Wildcats today. I think around the New 52 or before the New 52, they launched a Wildcats book, and I think Grant Morrison wrote it, and it lasted 4 issues or something. But ever since then, no Wildcats. Just bring back Wildcats. Why not? Those characters are cool. Maul, Voodoo, Zealot.
Because, as you said, they're from the 90s.
Yeah, but they're also drawn by Jim Lee, and they look sick. And Voodoo's cool. Well, no. Zealot's cool.
Voodoo had her own comic. Or is it a different Voodoo?
Voodoo, no, same Voodoo, just, rebooted. And Void's cool. Very interesting. Marlowe, who they reference. And that's the thing, is that in these books, they are starting to tease at the Wildcats.
Well, in this book here, they state that it's Earth 50, which is what it was numbered as. Yep. So Dan put in our notes here, does this mean that Grifter is actually from the Wildstorm universe, Earth 50, and this is an alternate universe Grifter?
Well, I would assume no, but there's a line in the book where somebody references his past, and he says something like, that was another lifetime ago, another universe ago. And so that could be him musing, about such time and such like space.
Could be like a fourth wall break kind of thing where it's just like, previous 90s run.
Right, yeah, but those characters do exist in this reality, or it's like, no, I slipped and I fell through a portal and I ended up here, and now I'm just doing the best I can.
They old man Logan'd me.
Yeah, the old man Logan'd me. I would not like that. And I only say that because I don't think the Wildstorm from the 90s has legs anymore. I don't think that you can just pick it up. I don't think you could revisit it. You can't go back. You can't go home again. I don't think that you could ever just go hey, Jim, Choi, and Campbell, just pick up Gen 13 where it left off. You can't do that book anymore.
That would be like if they went to J. Scott Campbell, and we'll talk about a little bit more about his recent things coming up soon. But if they went to him and said, "Could you just do a modern day Danger Girl?"
Right,
it would not get traction.
I mean, no, it would get traction, but it would get the wrong kind of traction. It would be canceled.
It'd be like Aspen trying to do Fathom again.
Right, and people were like, Turner ain't here no more Fathom.
Yeah, because they recently tried to reboot Witchblade, and the new answer for Witchblade was a completely unrecognizable costume.
Yeah.
That completely consumes her body. And I'm like, guys, you do realize that the reason Witchblade succeeded is you had a hot girl that had armor that literally protected her nipples and genitalia.
And that was it. And everything else was exposed.
That was the whole that was the reason why 13-year-old Benny read Witchblade.
Right. I gotta tell you, by the way,
I don't even remember the plot to Witchblade. I'm just saying.
I never really read a lot of Witchblade. I have Witchblade #1. I have a Witchblade crossover. Witchblade crossed over with Silver Surfer once, and that's it. Some of these characters, they belong where they were. Although they did make, I think Wildstorm turned 25 or 30 or something, and they had this oversized hardcover, and they got everybody back. And Campbell drew a Return to Gen 13, and Jim Lee did one, and there's all this sequel story, and having read it, not great.
And the chat is asking me, they're wait, they're redoing Witchblade? No, they did, and none of you read it.
Yeah, you also didn't watch the show, you Philistines. There was a TBS or a TNT live action TV series.
That at least kept the gauntlet accurate. Hold on, did you not see the Witchblade reboot?
No.
Hold on. I'm gonna get this, and Dan can put it up on the screen for them to see.
Yeah,
real quick.
Please. I would love to see this.
That was the new Witchblade costume they were trying to do.
That's not even a thing. She looks like Ragman.
That's what I mean. It's not Witchblade in any way, shape, or form.
No. No. And by the way, I'm not annoyed that she's not just a pinup girl with a skin condition. It's just that's not anything.
Well, and that's my argument, and we'll have this discussion for real quick here. Look, 13-year-old Benny loved half-naked Witchblade.
Right.
30s Benny, I'm probably not going to read it for the same reasons. Your story better be good.
Better be cool.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm not going to complain if she's half-naked, but at the same time, I want a story, or I'm just going to drop the book.
Yeah.
Half-naked drawn women are too easy to come by. But to completely, because Witchblade got full body armor at one point.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they go with that look?
I don't know. Well, and other people get the Witchblade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That is Ragman. That's Solstice or whatever from Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
That's not Witchblade. That's not the title. I get in this day and age we don't want cheesecake superheroes, because that was the thing with Witchblade. Witchblade wasn't a cheesecake cover. Witchblade was a cheesecake superhero.
She was one of the bad girls. Lady Rawhide, Witchblade, Lady Death, Purgatory, everybody from Chaos Comics, or now Coffin Comics.
Yeah,
they were all cheesecake books.
And that's what I'm saying. That was every panel that she was in was a cheesecake. For those who don't know what cheesecake is, it is the term used to intentionally draw women overly sexualized.
Yes.
to like the 10th degree. If you read
get your
anything
sales,
Zenoscope,
yeah.
any cover in Zenoscope is a cheesecake cover. And it is. It's just a drum of sales. And that was what that book was. You could have easily done new Witchblade, full body armor, boom.
Yes.
And I would have been like, oh, this could be cool. Like,
right? Yeah. Yeah, but no, this is just weird. But that's the thing is that, like, I think those days are over, and I don't think they're going to do it, so anyway.
And for the record, if anybody who watches this post or actually read this run is like, no, she gets the armor later, Benny. I read it until she appeared like that and said, oh, no. This isn't Witchblade. Yeah. So if she gets normal armor later, I apologize.
But it's also like weird. Like what are you doing? Why would they make that bait and switch? Like are you trying to like hide Witchblade? Like, okay, listen, everyone is gonna be upset about her being like sexy, is gonna buy the first 3 issues of Witchblade, but then they're going to stop reading it. And by issue 4, she's going to be super sexy again. Like, no, that's such a weird, that's not a business strategy. That's just, anyway.
And yes, our chat also states that in the world of anime, it's referred to as a fan service anime or manga. And yes, that's exactly what it is. It's fan service and cheesecake are the exact same.
Yeah, they call it fan service in every other medium as well. But
you're not wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I should say...
I like how you try to correct me. He should have done
No, not you. I'm correcting them, where they're like, oh, Benny, don't forget, anime invented literally everything. Everything that you know came from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and My Hero Academia. Sick My Hero reference, Benny. Sick. Actually, those books and shows just reference everything else. Whatever reference I'm making is not a My Hero reference. It is a reference that My Hero is making.
Yeah.
That just let me just cut to the chase with everybody who tells me that I keep making My Hero Academia references. I am not. They are making references to things that I am making references to.
Yeah, well, I mean, My Hero Academia, what people don't seem to, who only read My Hero Academia, and I have read, watched, and liked My Hero Academia. I still like it to this day. I just stopped reading and watching it. It is literally a manga take on American superheroes. That's the whole trope they're going for.
Yeah.
Nothing originated in a My Hero Academia. Just if we could do a whole episode where we pick apart every trope My Hero does and where it started in American comics.
Yeah. Like literally this is the show we're channels from Western comic books. We're not referencing My Hero Academia. I'm sorry.
So, moving on to the next thing on this list here then, since we talked about Grifter.
Yeah.
Future State Gotham #1. Now, we weren't going to talk about this, but Sal and I caught it right before the episode, and I was flipping through
and we
it.
couldn't stop talking about it. We were like, okay, we're down the rabbit hole with this.
Yeah, so Future State was supposed to be a 2-month event, and they're kind of promoting that a lot of Future State is coming back. My philosophy, the reason why this is happening, I think, is because Future State sold very well. They were hey, Future State sold like gangbusters. So what I think let me start over here real quick. Now, you don't have to cut anything, but so Future State sold very well, and it looks like DC is basically using Future State exactly like Sal and I said. Future State was the remnants of the original DC 5G. Yep. All of this is speculation. We have no evidence to go either way.
No confirmation.
Following up with our speculation, and what kind of confirms it, is this new Future State Gotham issue 1.
Yeah.
This book is written by Joshua Williamson, and I'm assuming it's probably, I haven't actually read it, but I assume it's probably written very well, and it's a great story. I love Joshua Williamson's work.
Yep.
But the artwork in this is a black and white sketch thing that maybe was intended, but also looks like it was sitting on some editor's desk, and they didn't want to pay the inker or the colorist to come in and just said, put it out on the shelves.
Yeah. I don't know how many issues is this book slated to have?
I don't even know, because I don't even remember hearing about it, because I thought we had the Red Hood and Urban Legends story, and that was the Red Hood story.
Exactly. And we had the backup in one of the Batman books that was this. Like, Future State Gotham is the end result of the backup story set during Future State that starred Jason Todd doing his thing.
Hold on.
Then we got this.
Yeah. One of our chat is Peacekeeper 01 just showed up Batman 1.8. Why wouldn't you think Future State is still coming? No, the whole point of Future State was to show you where things are supposed to be in about a year, which is why we got Peacekeeper 01 in Batman 108, because that's a part of Infinite Frontier. Future State as a label and a brand of books and the actual stories there, that was supposed to be done as the way they were pitching it. Future State itself was done, and that was the pitch, because it was supposed to move into Infinite Frontier, and Future State was supposed to show us the possible futures. Some of these may happen, some of these might not, and it all depends on most likely the reaction to the books. But
so we saw this book, and we looked at it, and we're like, this looks like it's not done. And
some of the pages are like shaded properly, and some of them look like the artist drew a quick sketch because that was the initial rough draft of it.
Right. Like it looks like it is in phase 1 of a published comic book, where it's like next phase will be flats or like inks, flats, colors. It looks unfinished is what the suggestion is. The implication is that this book is not done, and they put it out anyway.
It's what they had. Yeah,
it's what they had. It's all they had, and they didn't want to spend more to finish it. But they also build it as an ongoing series, so it's not like they shouldn't have finished it. Like they absolutely. Like,
I wonder if this is a test to cut costs.
Oh my God.
Where they're like, hey, this black and white, everyone's buying black, white, and red. Everyone's buying black and white and blue.
Right.
What if we just try putting out the flats to something, the rough draft to something, and see if
no one
people
notices and they buy it anyway? Like we could say we could cut costs on these books. It's $4.
On top of that, though, to make it more obvious, at least in my opinion, that this is an early phase of the artist's work.
Yes.
Where he just drew up the basics, sent it over so they could start lettering it, and was like, all right, I'll get you guys the completed pages real soon. Like,
God, I've been there. Yeah.
There's a backup in this that is drawn in the style of a black and white, sketched, shaded, the whole 9 yards. Like,
yes, the backup in this story is much more finished looking.
It feels more finished. We could be completely wrong. This could be the intended appearance and run of this book.
Right. And for scale, we looked up the artist's work and took a look at a couple of other books they've done over the years, and it does have a particular style to it that you would find prevalent in this that I would say looks unfinished. And I won't drag anybody else into it. I'm just going to say, from my perspective, the work that I have seen, and is a very small sampling of this artist's work, looks like the style is kind of very loose and sketchy and unfinished. Yeah. Or what I would consider to be unfinished in a mainstream Big 2 comic book. So it's pretty par for the course.
Now, I am wondering if, because it is a stylized, unfinished look, if it was intended. And it's hard to gauge because this is on a book labeled Future State. About a storyline that shouldn't exist anymore.
It should be over. That's the weird part, right? It's like, because I remember them... If this had just come out, and especially if this was a digital exclusive book, I would say 100% no question about it. Nobody has to confirm it. It was just finished. Someone forgot to roll it out. Here it is now. Hopefully it'll make a couple $100.
Yeah.
But
the only reason I bring up that it might be intended is because the Harley Quinn is a completely stylized look. If you've read the current Harley Quinn run, it looks like nothing we've ever seen with Harley Quinn, and not in a bad way. I'm actually enjoying the very stylized look.
Loved the art. Future State Harley Quinn looked sick.
Well, I'm talking the current run. The Future State looks amazing too.
That looked crazy.
The current one looks more cartoony. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think you're gonna like it.
I probably not. I'm not. Yeah. Like I'm not really a big Riley Rosmo fan, and like it's very cartoony. I'm not saying he's doing the book, but I am just using him as an example. Like I get how great he is. I don't know if I like. I've seen so much of his work that I'm like, all right, I'm not a fan. Like,
yeah, exactly. I know you prefer the more
like,
finished, realistic kind of look.
I'm more of like a Dan Mora, like Chichetto kind of person. But like that being said, I still recognize and appreciate, different styles of art.
Yeah. Our chat is stating that Future State Gotham is solicited as a black and white book. Well, we know that, and that's the point we're making. Yeah. We're debating if it was originally intended to be a black and white book, or it was supposed to come out during Future State, and some editor is like, oh, crap, well, black and white books are a thing right now. Let's just put it out like this.
Yeah.
Red Hood. Red Hood always sells.
Right. I guess. I mean, like, he's everywhere. I think, and this is just a hypothesis, that this book was not done, and they didn't want to spend as much, and so they just put it out.
Right, because they had Joshua Williamson write it, and they paid
Well, not
the
just
artist.
It was him and Dennis Culver.
Okay, well, they still paid. Then they paid 2 writers.
Yeah,
and they paid an artist to sketch it.
Right.
So there was money in this book. That was the whole point of Future State, because they paid for some 5G stuff and they had to roll it out.
Yeah, and it could be that this was just, except that this is a backup. Like, this is the continuation of a backup story that had already been going on. So it could be that this whole issue was, because remember, if the Red Hood story during Future State was the backup, and they only had, remember, Future State was only 2 or 4 issues, right?
Yeah.
It could be they had more Jason Todd Red Hood story for the backups, but not enough front book to back it up with this. So they took the rest of the backup Jason Todd story that was done, put it in its own book, and put this out.
Maybe.
Right?
It's an interesting link. It's weird because it partially confirms the theories that, because everyone likes, us included, likes to theorize that Future State was the remnants of 5G. But DC never made a statement about that. They never came out and said, yes, guys, all the rumors are true, and here's what's left.
DC learned a very valuable lesson in the wake of Dan DiDio and whatever happened to him, because there has been no official statement from the company in regards to Dan DiDio. And what was the lesson? The lesson is they never issued a statement about Dan DiDio, but everybody in the comic book industry knows he was fired. So if everybody already knows, and we could catch a lot of crap in our media for firing him, but we never actually make a statement about it, and we can get away with that, maybe we'll just stop issuing statements about all kinds of things. Usually companies have to say something. Like if a CEO is fired, usually there's a statement from the company. And it's always a BS statement, and it's always written by like a committee of people, and we all know. But that's the theater of being a company in the public, is that you gotta play the game, you gotta explain yourselves, because you usually have shareholders and people who are dependent on your success or failure. But they learned very quickly. They were like, we never issued a statement, and there was actually like a timely reason for it. It was sudden when he left, and it was a weird time, and I think it was on like a weekend. Anyway, they had a little bit of a delay, and the news broke before they could issue the statement. And then I think internally they were like, let's see how long it lasts. And if enough legitimate outlets just give us a pass, this will be our new normal. We'll be never telling the public what we're doing at any point. Like, there are a lot of weird theories. And that, of course, and the consequence of that is the weird theories that arise from a silent company. Like, you wouldn't believe what I'm hearing. Not from creators, but from everybody else, like retailers and printers, about what DC is doing, planning, and what their intentions are. And it's rampant speculation. Rampant to the point of like them saying, well, everybody knows that this is exactly and definitively what DC is doing. And DC's letting it happen because they won't say anything. They won't.
What I love about the DC speculation is it goes everywhere from like DC's having its best year ever to DC is so bankrupt they're getting sold. Like the speculation's on both ends of that spectrum right now.
And by the way, they're wrong on both counts. Like those two extremes. I will say this. We know people in the industry. We've spoken to them personally. Neither of those is true. Like,
it more falls into they're a comic book company trying to find the next big thing that sells Batman. Like, that's basically it.
Yeah. But like, it's amazing. But like, this doesn't help. This kind of book, because it's just kind of like, and
it's also out of the norm for DC in general.
Exactly.
Because they've only ever they don't do a lot of black, white, and red books. They don't do a lot of these Wolverine things. It's out of character for it to be Red Hood. Because as Dan said in the pre-show, why wouldn't they just do some red outlines and make it black, white, and Red Hood? And then it would feel more natural. Why is it a continuation of Red Hood's Future State story, which, as we know of right now, is supposed to may or may not happen?
Yeah.
But we're continuing it in the alternate future that may or may not happen.
Right. Like, why remind people? Like, what are you doing? And this is, for me, like, it's not even, I don't even care. Like, we're not one of those, like, misery profiteering channels that just like, oh, bad news ka-ching, super chats.
Yeah.
But like but like it doesn't look good. Like, why are you reminding people about this thing that you shouldn't even be putting your effort into? Like, what are you doing?
You know what it falls in line with? It falls in line with Marvel celebrating the big cinematic universe for 10 years anniversary or 12 years.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then on the same day, WB being like, Joss Whedon Justice League. Why are you reminding people that you...
Yeah, why did you do that?
Why did you, like... You just released Zack Snyder cut, and your response is, and 4K Joss Whedon.
Right? Like,
why? Why? Obviously, that movie got panned. Why would you remind people it even exists?
And like Whedon, if you're like, let's say, well, we really want to start catching in the media. Like, oh, great idea. What is the media going to concentrate on if you say Joss Whedon? They're going to say, oh, right, you mean the guy who is like has rampant speculation on his own? The guy who is like being accused of being like a racist, the guy who literally, if you Google him, you'll get a Gal Gadot quote from 2 days ago that said like he threatened my career privately. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like, how
exactly.
tone deaf are you?
So I mean, WB is putting out Joss Whedon cut. DC's pushing out more Future State stuff.
Right.
Which while it's got to be a way to test the waters. I guarantee there are more Future State stories that were completed that are sitting at the office right now.
Oh my God,
for the 5G initiative that never actually happened, which got leaked out in the whole 9 yards.
Right.
And so this to me says there are more stories for that. And if Future State sold, this actually proves Future State sold as well as they claimed. Because everyone liked to be like, oh, Future State sold like crap. DC's lying. Well, then they wouldn't have put out more Future State.
No, it's
so
true.
You're wrong.
Right. Yeah.
This is literally them testing to see if they can put out the rest of the unfinished work.
Yes.
That's how it looks to me. That's what it entirely looks to me.
Yeah. Now, but if it were me, I wouldn't do that. But that's like, you know what that is, that because I have an aversion towards nickel and diming. So for me, it's like if you have, let's say, 7 random Future State titles that have nothing to do with each other, you just put out a book. Like just put out one compendium, call it Future State: The Lost Tales, and just call it a day. $15. That's the end of it. But I know these guys. $4.99, $4.99, $4.99. $4.99. 7 of them? How many of those am I going to make? Then I'll put out a compendium.
You mean to tell me we have a few more Batman? We have a few more Red Hood? Those are going to sell. What else do we have what else do we have that'll sell on its own?
Right? Oh, you have a Future State Etrigan book? Yeah, we can squeeze that in between some Red Hoods. Like, it's just, and by the way, this is all, again, speculation. We don't really know.
We could be
no
completely wrong. This could have been the plan from the get-go, and they could have just been like, hey, we want that Red Hood book to come out. Like,
yeah, but the problem is, when you do this kind of thing, you let the audience dictate the narrative or control or determine the narrative. They're like, hey, this is what it looks like you're doing, so I'm just going to say that's what you're doing. And they're like, oh, wait, well, no, we're not. And it's like, well, aren't
a lot of other channels won't specifically state. We're speculating right now, guys.
Oh, no. There will be channels that are like, so here's definitive proof, and the proof is just that I said it was. And I made like $500 on this episode. Thanks a lot.
So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic here instead of just completely harshing on an idea that we have.
Yes, yes, please.
Let's move on to the next comic that's been going on. Sal, why don't you talk a little bit about the Hellfire Gala?
Yeah, the Hellfire Gala. I don't know. I know very little about it. I think it's just the idea that like they're having this big kind of like red carpet event. We didn't get any invitations, by the way.
I don't even fully know what it is. I don't even know what costumes.
It is. Right, new costumes, but they're costumes that are like the red carpet costumes. They're not like fighting costumes. These are gala, orchestra costumes. These are dresses and suits. And the X-Men have never been sexier and crazier looking. And all I know is that I think they're 10 of swordsing it. I think that like the Hellfire Gala will be the next thing that's like tearing through all of the X titles.
I don't want them to do that if that's the case, but I think that might be what's happening. I feel like it's way too soon. Mm-hmm. I feel like the X books are starting to finally get their feet again. They're all starting to kind of separate again, and now we're going to come back together for a Hellfire Gala. It's like, ugh.
Yes. Well, I think they're doing that. For me, I look at the X-Men titles as kind of like breathing, where it's like we expand, we contract, we go back, we go out, we come back in.
Yeah.
And for this, it's like we expand, like we breathed in, we made 10 of swords. Here's all the X-Men titles. and all all the different tones going for one unison and one unified vision, because that's what the X-Men are, right? All the X-Men are under one roof, one location, one directive, and we're gonna try to remind you of that when the Hickman event does inevitably show up. The big one is what I'm gonna call it for now, but. Then we expand. Once it's over, we expand. Everybody gets to... We brought in a whole bunch of new readers. We maybe got a few new readers on different titles that weren't reading those titles. Then we push them out. We bring them back in. Remind you, hey, this is all still connected. Hellfire Gala.
Yeah.
And Hellfire Gala is going to spin off into new books. So you're going to we're getting not necessarily cancellations, but certainly hiatus. I think X Factor is on hiatus or canceled. And we're getting some new books.
And we also, for the record, don't know if Hellfire Gala is a full event, a giant one issue, just in the X-Men book.
No idea.
Yeah. Because they were promoting it, but they spoiled the ending. And I loved your theory as to why they did that, Sal.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
No, I was going to let you say your theory. I was going to take your theory from you.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I forgot I had one. The idea is, they spoiled it because they were maybe Ten of Swords didn't sell that well. And they're we got to tell you what's happening at the end of this thing. Marvel's we don't trust it. We just don't. And it's a bombshell surprise, and I assume it's just because Ten of Swords, right? Ten of Swords, the art, you got Mark Brooks art, originally, where it's all the X-Men with swords, and everyone's yes! And then you read it, and you're okay.
Where are the swords?
That was not quite what you promised. And it's still fun, and I dig Ten of Swords, but it's not exact.
I just love how many times they used Wolverine. He was in so many fights, even a drinking contest.
I know, yeah. Yeah, why not? Because he isn't doing anything in this run. But with Hellfire Gala, it's even more esoteric. It's even more weird. It's even they're wearing... It's they're going to the opera. There's no way people are going to die. There's no way there's going to be a big epic fight. Listen, Ten of Swords ends pretty friggin' epically, by the way. But, I feel they're afraid that Hellfire Gala... it's not hitting. And we know that Marvel tracks all this stuff through social media rather than market research. So I imagine that hashtag Hellfire Gala or whatever wasn't trending quite as well as Ten of Swords. And they're oh God, just tell them what happens at the end. It's pretty cool. And then they did. And Marvel, because we saw the announcement of a new event or story or whatever, status quo, and... they spoiled it, and it turns out the source came from Marvel themselves. Marvel's we told you what happened. We even had John Romita Jr. draw some art because he ended his exclusivity with DC, or rather DC ended their exclusivity with John Romita Jr. But Romita Jr. drew a little promo piece. He's not drawing the book. It's just he drew a promo piece.
Didn't they end all of their exclusivities, I thought? I thought all of them pretty much ended.
I don't think all of them. I think there's one or two of them that have exclusivities. I think I think Josh is still exclusive. I think that Snyder is still exclusive.
I think Bendis, I would assume.
Bendis is not.
No?
No. They announced that one. Bendis is not exclusive, and I think that's because Bendis cost too much.
I assume he probably did, yeah.
Because they worked out, yeah, no. But the other guys, I think Chip, not exclusive, but he's not exclusive anywhere. And everybody else. I mean, but Romita was one of those people. Dan Moore is one of those people. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so do we want to talk about the spoiler?
They don't say exactly just so following. Apparently, they've said what's going to happen after Hellfire Gala.
Yes,
and
what happens after it, the ending.
There's going to be a trial of Magneto based on the murder that happens at Hellfire Gala. So they basically say Hellfire Gala's got something happening, guys. It's going to be Clue, a murder mystery.
Yes, yeah. Well, you think it's going to be all fun, and then boom, there's a murder, and they suspect Magneto. And so it's going to spin into the trial of Magneto, which, boy, that would have been pretty cool.
To not know that was coming, to get to the end of Hellfire Gala and be oh my God, such and such died. I'm hoping it's Kitty Pryde.
And we don't know who it is.
I think everyone loves Kitty Pryde too much. I think she needs to die. So
she just died. She's already been dead, and then they brought her back. But yeah. But I'm excited. That's a cool idea.
Our chat says the best, Knives Out with the X-Men. But it would have been better if you didn't know who they were going to suspect by the end of Knives Out. That's like going, hey man, you should see Knives Out. By the way, it's this guy.
Right. But I mean, you know what? It's better that we know them. We don't know, because that'll be interesting. How will this affect everything? I don't know. Plus, we're getting new books, so that's cool. I guess it's too bad that Marvel keeps spoiling everything, but they've been doing that forever. But it's cool that Gala will matter
Yeah,
according
that's
to
true.
readers, like as opposed to it being like whatever.
I think that's all of our comic. Nope, let's talk about Heroes Reborn real quick, and then we'll move on.
Yes. Ugh.
So Heroes Reborn I actually really liked it, based on your response. I'm assuming you didn't.
No, I was not a fan. But I get it. I mean, like, I love the idea. Like, that pitch, they didn't write the pitch, by the way. This is my pitch of Heroes Reborn, which is, what if the Justice League ran the Marvel Universe? And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it's like, well, normally you'd be like, oh, because, well, it would just be like the DC Universe. But no, the Marvel Universe is intrinsically different. And let's take a look at what that would be like if the Justice League ran the Marvel Universe. How cool. Love that idea. The execution,
I didn't mind the first issue. My biggest problem is they marveled it up already. Now, when this is being pitched, I thought it was going to be Heroes Reborn 1 through 7, maybe 1 or 2 spinoffs, and that'd be the extent of it.
Yeah.
But I got to the end of Heroes Reborn 1, and I'm like, man, this is a cool idea. When's the second one come out? Checklist.
Next week.
Oh, no!
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't I see this coming?
I don't know why. It's a Marvel event. We all knew. But, yeah, and I had some major criticisms about the cover scheme. I was like, what are you doing? Like, the Lineal U art is so drastically different from the McGinnis art that it's just like that they just look totally different, and you're like they're tonally completely separate. Then you're stealing the Civil War aesthetic, but like Civil War has nothing to do with this, and it's just kind of there's a lot of like weird going on with the execution of this event. And I know that they want to also differentiate it from the X-Men, who have basically been having an event since like they debuted House of X, and it's like
Dawn of X started the X-Men event.
Right, yeah,
just
the X-Men event of reading X-Men for 2 years. But and how does the Heroes Reborn affect the X-Men? I don't know. Probably not. Probably doesn't.
Yeah, everyone's saying it's a weekly series, so it will be done relatively soon.
Thank God.
I just find it kind of funny, the amount of tie-ins that it's already kind of announcing.
Yeah, it's for me, it's also one of those things where it's like, it's another representative of how like Marvel hears you, because you would like to see a Marvel DC crossover. We just want to let you know we're never going to do that.
I know. We're never going to do it. Here's what we think it would look like if we were allowed to do it.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it. So
we're never going to do that. So I know you guys like Amalgam. How about Infinity Warps? You guys like you guys like JLA versus the Avengers? How about Heroes Reborn? You like those? Not really. Yeah. Okay, well, we're not going to do it still. We're still not going to do it.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I liked the first issue. We'll see how this goes.
Good. I'm glad, because it's like...
I'll keep up with it and keep talking about it.
Because I really don't like Aaron on Avengers. I have not at all. And, that would... It's been very frustrating for me to read I don't. I just haven't read Avengers in a year, and it's just like every week I'm like, ugh. And,
I'm catching up on Avengers right now. And then I remembered I'm still supposed to read that Daredevil book and talk to you about my opinion on the Daredevil book. So I gotta go back to that now.
That's all right.
It's literally sitting on my coffee table. Like, I have the book. It's not.
Right.
This isn't like, oh, I'll go buy it, Sal.
No, I know. I remember you saying you got them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, so 2 other superheroes got some brand new powers before we move on to our other 2 topics of the day. Superman 31 shows John getting a new power where he can explode his heat vision mid-air by focusing a single point of the blast to collide and create an explosion.
Okay.
Who cares?
Right.
That's honestly my... You know what? I remember when they said Superman got a new power.
Solar
and he
flare.
never used it.
He used it twice, and
John used it once.
Yes, yeah. But I remember seeing it in something else where like it was after New 52, and he did it again, and people were like, he just did the remember that solar flare? He did it again.
Yeah, it doesn't mean. Like, the problem with Superman and Superboy is they're just too strong and, at the end of the day, uninteresting because they're too strong. The issue I've always had with Superman and Superboy is they have no challenges.
Right.
Which the challenge always is, we found kryptonite.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have enjoyed a lot of Superman, especially lately, and
they've had good stories. I'm not trying to like discount all Superman. Let me just throw that out there. I do like Superman and Superboy. Generally, though, his stories do boil down to he's unstoppable.
For me, the problem with like Superman got a new power is stop that. It's never been interesting. Like Superman, quote, getting a new power.
He already has too many.
he has them all. Like, he has all the powers. That's why he's Superman.
He has hearing, frost breath, heat vision, flight, strength.
Yep.
I think he's been able to do telescopic vision.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
got super hearing, super singing.
Yep. Yeah.
Like,
he can kill Darkseid with a single note. He can do anything, and that's what makes him Superman. That's fine. Like, I've always been fine with that. I've never been like, there's too many powers, he's unrelatable. I've never been like that. The problem was when they were like, the powers are the character, and like, they made him blue and electric, and like, that for me is like the perfect representation of like, you don't get it. Like, you don't get Superman. Okay, you just don't get him. Because they were like, people aren't buying him, it's gotta be the powers. And it's like, it's never the powers, it's just the writing. Yeah. It's always the writing.
I still, in the most recent years, the most interesting Superman stories that have come out of the Superman mainline book for me was Tomasi's run.
Right,
Where he was
giving him a
teaching
son.
his son. Because the challenge there wasn't kryptonite. The challenge there wasn't a new villain that happens to be as strong as Superman. The challenge there was, how do I teach my son? That was what made that story interesting. Just like I like Superman on the Justice League, because the challenge becomes, how do I write and make Superman interesting and keep every other member of the Justice League interesting? Like, that normally leads to some interesting writing and interesting stories, because you're trying to make, because look, we all love Batman and Superman, but at the end of the day, Superman would just punch Batman into the sun.
Yeah,
like
Superman
Batman
would kill him. Yeah. He'd be dead.
Batman and Superman don't compete. They can't. They really
no.
Injustice, they literally made a green pill so that Batman could not be punched into the sun. Like,
no. What would happen if Superman went to the bad side? Batman would die. Like,
that's it.
We know that, and it's okay. But like, you know what's funny? There's Tom King had a great line when a child asked. It's in Superman Up in the Sky, where a child asks Superman, if Batman and Superman fought, who would win? And he said, Batman. And she said, that doesn't make any sense. And he said, well, it would mean a lot to him.
Yeah, that's just it. That's really what it boils down to. You know?
He's like, I would atomize him within an instant, but like, I would never kill him because my friend and he thinks he could beat me. Like,
yeah.
No, but like, for me, it never, like, Superman, you could do this now. Like, if you are a writer for Superman and you say, I've got it, I'm gonna give him a new power, you should be fired. Like,
well, the issue I have with the new powers in general, whether it be Superboy or Superman, because Superboy has all the same powers as Superman. We've discovered that, even the solar flare.
Yeah,
is we already don't use half the powers he has.
Exactly. Yeah, I've not seen him be in a situation where he's like, it's too hot, freeze breath time.
Yeah, like even his super speed, they try to nerf it below the Flash, but he's still faster than the Flash, depending on who writes it. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't know. There's so many powers that just don't line up. Yeah. In the end, because he just has them all. Yeah. Our chat loves to, and we'd love to bring it to Christopher Reeve's movies.
Yeah.
He has the
Cellophane S.
He could rebuild a wall. He could
with his
rewind
eyes.
Time. He can kiss your memories away. Like,
right. And you know what's funny? That is like, for me, that's like so Hollywood. Hollywood's like, I don't get Superman, so I guess he can just do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, just anything? Just whatever I need him to do?
And if you go back in time to like the Silver Age,
right?
We all joke about Superman pulling multiple planets to the chain, but he could shoot little Supermen out of his hands.
Yeah.
Like this is what the stuff he could do back then. So
yeah, Superman has all the powers. I mean, like, yeah, and if he needed to, he could create more. But at the end of the day, for me, that's never been interesting, and it's a sign that you are dragging the bottom of the barrel for ideas. Like, if you can't make Superman interesting, that is your fault.
So the other character to get new powers is Okoye over at Wakanda. Yeah. Apparently, and I'm not reading this.
Yeah.
Okoye. I always mispronounce her, but
it's all right.
I'm not reading this, but apparently she has been infused with the dragon key from Iron Fist, Heart of the Dragon. Power very similar to Danny Rand's Iron Fist power, which might bring new powers to the character, boosting her beyond simply being a powerful and skilled fighter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, whatever.
Build upon these characters that have existed for a while, and they don't. Like, they tried to be like, hey, the Dora Milaje are just amazing fighters, but that doesn't. outside of the occasional like Falcon Winter Soldier scene, no one cares.
Right.
No one cares.
Well, and like Okoye is in the big female empowerment scene at the end of Endgame, so like she's a superhero. Like at the end of the day, Disney Marvel thinks that she's a superhero, and and I can imagine them going like, "What's the Okoye comic?" And they're like, "There aren't any." Like
she's barely a background character in Wakandan comics.
Literally that. Like she's barely a character, and they're like, "Well, you should probably fix that, don't you think?" So my assumption is they're like, I mean, like, you know,
give her more agency.
Give her more agency. Give her more powers. Give her an opportunity to be a character who can have her own book, because she's already got fans. Like the fact is, there are more fans for a character who's never had a solo book than there are for characters who have had multiple volumes of solo books at Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dora Milaje had a book at one point. But like, even if they did, she's not they're barely characters.
Right. The book wasn't called Okoye and the Dora Milaje. It was called something else.
They're background characters to the rest of the Black Panther pantheon. Like, so Shuri, T'Challa, T'Chaka,
Killmonger.
M'Baku.
M'Baku.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
But like, they're the background characters. They're the ones that propel the plot so that the characters can get involved. That's normally what happens. So
yeah, it'd be like if they were like, man, that J. Jonah Jameson character is really selling. He's really popular among the movie-going audience. Make sure he gets powers.
Yeah. Like J. Jonah Jameson only recently gotten more spotlight again because Nick Spencer really wants to turn him into a podcaster.
Right. Which, by the way, you got to give that credit to Zdarsky. He's the guy who started that. But yes, it's just, you know what it is? It's just like we've been inching by decades getting Jonah back into the Daily Bugle. We've just been slowly getting him.
When did they take him out of the Daily Bugle?
No, he's not been on the Daily Bugle for years.
I know, that's what I mean. But like, when did that start? I can't remember.
I don't even know. I don't even remember when they stopped having him associated with the Daily Bugle, but like he hasn't been in there in a long time, like decade or more. But anyway, yeah. But I mean, like, giving Okoye powers, that's very corporate, and I got to tell you, it doesn't infringe on me. It's not like they weren't gonna like greenlight a book I wanted, and they canceled it because they're giving Okoye powers from the Iron Fist. It just seems a little convoluted. That's all. Maybe you might want to give it her Black Panther powers. I don't know if you wanted to go Iron Fist with her, but okay. I mean, whatever.
Well, you know what? I'll give him credit because the problem with Shuri being Black Panther is at the end of the day, Shuri's Black Panther. Like, Shuri's not unique. And it's funny because in Strike Force, she has the powers from the movie. And I actually thought that was a great way to kind of develop Shuri outside of just being, she's just Black Panther.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
she's got her Meow Gauntlets.
Yeah. Well, she's got him in the game, and she's got like a whole getup to go with it now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool design. I never brought that one up because that happened way back in the day, kind of a situation. Mm-hmm. But you get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I like Black Panther. I don't like that the standard Wakandan lore is everyone in Wakanda becomes Black Panther. Like
him being Black Panther should be kind of a big deal and very like hard to happen all the time.
Right. It's kind of like what I argued, like, well, Wolverine technically could be a title that moved on to his daughter. That made sense. Black Panther is a title that moves between characters, like, a little too much.
Mm-hmm, It's happened. Yeah, like, they barely gave Laura
M'Baku
her due.
have it at one point and Killmonger?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they both...
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm going to Google that real quick.
Yeah,
who has been
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Because they pass it on all the time, and Black Panther himself like dies, becomes the Lord of the Dead, comes back, like,
which is good for Marvel because they're like, well, we're not recasting him, so we got to come up with another one.
Okay. So we got Black Panther 1 billion BC. That's the newer one.
Okay, all right. That's not a replacement. That's a legacy
that's not a
character.
replacement.
Like T'Chaka. Yeah.
Bashenga was in Black Panther number 7, 1978, by Jack Kirby.
Okay. All right.
Nahanda was the 11th century.
Okay.
1,000 versions of the Avengers. So that was like a special thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Chanda was in Fantastic Four Unlimited number 1, 1993.
Okay. All right.
T'Chaka, that one's more notorious, but that was 1966. That was the father.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Killmonger became Black Panther in Black Panther number 15, February 2000.
There you go.
He was then killed by Monica Rambeau.
Oh,
I don't even,
who then became Black Panther? No.
Yeah. Saiyan the Fast appeared in Black Panther Volume 4, Number 2, May 2005. The second son of a different king and T'Chaka's younger trusted advisor. So he became Black Panther. And then Shuri became Black Panther when T'Challa ended up in a coma because of Dr. Doom.
Yes. I remember that because I remember Marvel being like, who will become the Black Panther? And everyone's like, oh man, Storm would be really cool. And they're like, Storm's a possibility. It's not. It's never going to be Storm.
So, yeah, no, it's just interesting to see the decision to just give her Iron Fist powers. But it also might be a way.
Right.
But also, I'm going to throw the theory out there, and we talked a little bit about this on our canceled Marvel shows that'll be up on Absolutely Marvel and DC tomorrow or the day after. Mm-hmm. What if this is a way to reinvent Iron Fist? Because the Danny Rand show didn't do well, and they now have the rights to Iron Fist.
Right, we have the Iron Fist, but we don't want to make people think of Danny Rand because we caught too much crap about it the last time, and we don't want to deal with recasting. No. We're not recasting Finn Jones, or whatever his name is. We have a new Iron Fist, and it's Okoye, and you know that character.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
When that, I don't know if I'd like that or not. I don't know.
I would not like that. I think that would be... I think that's sinister. I don't like that.
No, Sinister's an X-Men villain. Oh, but I'm Tish.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next topic here. The Venom movie trailer dropped. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. Sal and I did an in-depth discussion going beat by beat for the trailer over at Absolutely Marvel and DC. I put that video out this morning. But we do want to talk a little bit more about it here because the director came out and said that as of right now, and I'm specifying as of right now, Venom universe is insulated, stating that none of the characters are aware of Spider-Man's existence. However, they have decided to put Easter eggs in for the viewers to enjoy.
Yes. Now... Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I don't think that's going to stick.
I think
after Spider-Verse drops, Venom 3 is going to start directly referencing stuff.
I have a wild theory about this. And it gives Sony a lot more credit than I think they're capable of getting. But if they pull it off, wow. Here it is. Venom 2. One of the things I noticed, and when we talked about it in our in-depth discussion, in the trailer, a guy's reading the Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Now... We've seen the Daily Bugle before, and I assumed... I don't remember if there's a Daily Bugle referenced in Venom 1, because I only saw the movie one time. But a lot of people were drawing parallels between the fact that... I've seen other people on podcasts discuss the fact that like there are parallels between the cover page of the Daily Bugle and how it's the exact same banner graphic as the one from the Raimi trilogy.
Yes. I've seen the Raimi trilogy connections that can seemingly pop up quite a bit.
Right. Now, that could be an homage. It could be a lazy graphic design department. Who knows? But let's assume it's intentional. We also saw the Morbius trailer. And in the Morbius trailer, we saw a big image of Spider-Man in an alley and someone writing murderer over it in spray paint.
Right, from the Mysterio thing.
Yes. Now, we assumed it was Mysterio because Tom Holland's Spider-Man was accused of murdering Mysterio in the MCU Spider-Man movie. But the image in the alley in Morbius, which we know is connected to Venom, is of a PS4 graphic image of Spider-Man from the Raimi trilogy.
Right. Sony likes to remind you, please forget Andrew Garfield, we had the Raimi trilogy.
Yes. Now, if they're referring to Tom Holland, why is he dressed like Tobey Maguire? My assumption was Sony's lazy and stupid, which is a fair assumption to make because they are lazy and stupid. But what if they're not? What if in Spider-Man No Way Home, they pluck Doc Ock, not from from death, because he dies at the end of Spider-Man 2, but what if it's not that they grab him and then we just keep him as current today aged Alfred Molina? What if we de-age him? And we have Alfred Molina Doc Ock survive the events of Spider-Man 2, thus unmaking Spider-Man 3, thereby removing Topher Grace from the timeline and making Tom Hardy the Venom of the Spider-Man Raimi trilogy universe. So it's not even close. It's not connected to the Tom Holland universe. It's that there's a third hidden secret Spider-Man 3 starring Tobey Maguire that is made as a result of the timeline change because of No Way Home, and that Venom, and both Venom movies, the Spider-Man in those movies is Tobey Maguire.
Okay. Oh, I could see that.
Right? It would be very bold, and I know that what's his name? Tobey Maguire's a lunatic, and he's hard to work with. But maybe he'd be down for one more movie, one more Raimi movie,
and they pull him in. Like
yeah.
So we ended up getting Spider-Man versus Venom.
Yes,
just not Tom Holland Spider-Man versus Venom.
You're right.
And we established the existence of everything in a No Way Home.
Yes.
I don't know if I like that.
Right. But this way, the Venom movie, like the incongruities, don't cause an issue with the MCU Spider-Man. And we know that Sony and Disney worked out a nice, sweet deal. So we know Spider-Man's going to be in more things. And we know that Disney has every intention of continuing to use Tom Holland Spider-Man. So rather than try and bridge them, why not just have the Venom trilogy or the Venom series and the Morbius series take place in the same Raimi universe?
I mean, it's not a terrible idea,
right?
But I don't trust Sony to do it well.
Me either. Oh no, Sony. Yeah, and that's exactly as far as I'm thinking Sony's capable of making those kind of decisions. I'm just thinking it's very interesting that like they put Raimi Spider-Man in the alley in Morbius, and that the people in the trailer are reading the Raimi trilogy Daily Bugle, especially because in the MCU, the Daily Bugle isn't a newspaper; it's an Alex Jones YouTube channel.
Right.
So
I like it. We'll have to make a whole video about your theory. You got to flush it out for me, okay?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even like it. I'm just saying. Like
I don't even like my theory.
Yeah. But anyway. So I just think it's interesting because I'm like, why? Like either you're horribly lazy or incredibly
I think it's that. I think they're just lazy and they want people to talk about the trailer.
Yes.
So throwing up the PS4 Spider-Man logo and the Daily Bugle makes us do things like this so that they drum up PR.
Because I will also say that I took a look at that Daily Bugle picture. It looks like there's a reference, and here's what's even more complicated. It looks like when he folds the page over, there's a reference to the Avengers in that Daily Bugle, which makes it even worse.
What if Sony's just like, all the universes are here?
Or what if Sony's like, no, there's an Avengers. There's a Raimi trilogy Avengers. Different actors.
No. Oh, no. Oh no!
Yeah. And it's just whoever Sam Raimi likes working with. It's Ted Raimi. It's Bruce Campbell. And they're all old. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, last topic we have here is the MODOK show is dropping real soon.
Yep. I'm excited. Indifferent on this show.
I like Robot Chicken. So
yeah, me too. No, I like Robot Chicken too, and I understand that Patton Oswalt's not only playing MODOK, but he's also like writing the show. So that's kind of cool. For me, I think they were working on this show like when they were working on all the other shows for Hulu, and like this is the only one that was like, well, we finished it, so we're going to put it out.
Yeah.
And so it was outside of Hellstorm. We'll see. Looks fun. I'll watch it.
I've had a long day. I apologize. I've been trying to hold back that yawn for the last hour. And it finally just got up on me. Yes. Like for the last hour, I've been doing the whole.
Oh yeah, I know that yawn.
No yawn.
Yeah.
No, I've had a very long day. I'm just very tired.
That's fair.
That's it. I think that's all we got, though, isn't it? Like I made it to the end of the show before that yawn escaped.
That's true.
Me.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think we got it. Future State, Heroes Reborn, Superman, Okoye, Batman: Urban Legends, Marvel's new Robot Chicken show, MODOK, new Venom trailer, and Trial of Magneto.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. Oh, you know what? Real quick, I got to do it for you. Did you see the trailer for Green Knight?
No. I saw an image. I don't even know what it is. What even is it about? Gawain from like?
Yeah, apparently it's a movie based on that poem.
Oh,
and it looks incredible.
Cool. Okay, I'll check that out. I
am so excited for that movie.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'll check that out. I know that. I know that poem. Ha
Yeah, it looks incredible. It's just like a Knights of the Round kind of thing. It looks great. I'm excited for it. So
If you guys haven't seen the movie Excalibur, you should watch Excalibur. It's
first night.
No. If you're going to watch any of those, watch A Knight's Tale. Joker, Vision, and King Candy are in that movie. Or K2SO. All those people are in that movie.
So, all right, guys, thank you for joining us for today's Absolute Comics. My name's Benny. That is Sal. Every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern, we go live talking about all the latest news, information, and stuff that is happening in the world of comics and what we've read in our opinions, theories, and fun. Don't forget, you can check us out on the YouTube channel, Absolute Comics, or you can check more discussions and more opinions and more theories at our other channel, Absolutely Marvel and DC. And if you want to see the show continue, please consider going to our sponsor, G Fuel, gfuel.com. Use the code COMICS at checkout. Get 10% off your order. I forgot to mention them in the beginning, but I think we say it every week, and you guys all know who I'm talking about. So, thanks, guys, so much. We will see you next time right here at Comic Story Podcast Network, Absolute Comics! Too many words. Absolute Comics!